In October 1918, the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed after 4 years of war. Military defeat on the Italian front, mass desertions, and political paralysis in Vienna and Budapest brought imperial authority to an abrupt end. Across the former empire, power passed not through treaties, but through local action. Administrative offices closed, military units disintegrated, and new national councils began asserting control over territory. Carinthia, located south of the Alps, was suddenly exposed. For centuries, it had been part of the Habsburg Crown lands, but now it lay between two emerging political projects, German-Austria and the South Slav state. Carinthia's population was ethnically mixed. German speakers dominated urban centers, administration, education, and trade. Slovene speakers formed majorities in many rural southern districts, especially near the Karawanks Mountains. Despite this division, the region functioned as a single economic unit. Railways, markets, courts, and supply networks all centered on Klagenfurt. Control of Carinthia was therefore not only a matter of ethnicity, but of geography, infrastructure, and political survival. On 29 October 1918, the state of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs was proclaimed in Zagreb. Its leaders claimed Slovene-populated areas of the former Habsburg lands, including southern Carinthia and southern Styria, arguing that national self-determination required the unification of Slovene territories. At the same time, fighting and occupations were already taking place in Lower Styria, where South Slav forces moved quickly to secure Maribor and surrounding areas. This reinforced fears in German-speaking regions that delay would lead to permanent territorial losses. Days later, the Republic of German-Austria was proclaimed in Vienna. Its provisional government declared all German-speaking crown lands, including Carinthia and Styria, to be indivisible parts of the new state, emphasizing historical borders, economic unity, and administrative continuity. In early November 1918, South Slav military units crossed into southern Carinthia. They moved quickly to secure villages, transport routes, and administrative buildings. Skirmishes occurred near Eisenkappel and along roads south of Klagenfurt. By mid-November, South Slav forces expanded their control in southern Carinthia. They occupied Volkermarkt, Furlach, Eisenkappel, and large areas south and southeast of Klagenfurt. German-Austria, facing territorial pressure not only in Carinthia but also in southern Styria, was still demobilizing after the World War and lacked the ability to respond immediately. On December 1, 1918, the state of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs formally united with the Kingdom of Serbia. The new state was proclaimed as the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Soon after, German-Austria began organizing a response. Former imperial officers, veterans, and local volunteers formed the Carinthian Homeland Defense. The loss of Lower Styria earlier in November reinforced fears that delay would lead to permanent territorial losses elsewhere, adding urgency to Carinthian mobilization. Weapons were gathered, and defensive lines were established along valleys leading toward Klagenfurt. By early 1919, the front in southern Carinthia had stabilized but remained tense. Throughout January and February, both sides conducted patrol actions, limited attacks, and positional fighting. Control of some villages shifted temporarily, but there was no decisive breakthrough. German-Austrian forces were still consolidating and organizing. The Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes continued to reinforce its positions in the south. The conflict remained unresolved, and both sides prepared for a larger confrontation. In late April 1919, German-Austrian forces launched a more coordinated and substantial counteroffensive. Their objective was clear: secure Klagenfurt permanently, push opposing forces southward, and strengthen Austria's position before the peace conference finalized borders. Fighting intensified around Volkermarkt, Bleiburg, Furlach, and the Drava Valley. This time, Austrian units achieved more significant advances. Several contested areas were retaken, and the front lines shifted southward. In early May 1919, forces of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes launched a renewed and larger offensive. This operation was more ambitious than earlier engagements. South Slav forces advanced northward and, at one stage, entered Klagenfurt briefly in June 1919. The escalation alarmed the Allied powers. The conflict now threatened to widen and destabilize the region further. Under Allied pressure, a ceasefire was imposed in June 1919. An international military commission supervised withdrawals and established a provisional demarcation line. Large-scale fighting ended. From this point onward, the dispute shifted decisively from military confrontation to diplomatic and political struggle. With open warfare suspended, both Austria and the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes intensified political efforts. The upcoming plebiscite transformed the conflict into a battle of persuasion. Austria emphasized economic stability, access to markets, continuity of administration, and local autonomy. The South Slav side emphasized ethnic unity, cultural rights for Slovenes, and integration into a broader South Slav state. Propaganda campaigns were widespread. Posters, leaflets, speeches, newspapers, and community meetings were conducted in both German and Slovene. Rural communities became the primary target of persuasion. Although tensions remained high, large-scale violence did not resume. Southern Carinthia was divided into voting zones under Allied supervision. On October 10, 1920, the plebiscite was held. Voters were asked whether they wished to remain part of Austria or join the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. The results surprised many observers. A majority voted to remain with Austria, including a substantial number of Slovene-speaking voters. Economic considerations, administrative familiarity, and concerns about stability played a significant role. Following the vote, the border was finalized largely along the existing line. Most of Carinthia remained Austrian. Southern Styria remained part of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. The Slovene-Carinthian conflict did not end with decisive battlefield victory. Instead, it concluded through a combination of military balance, international intervention, propaganda campaigns, and a supervised vote. It stands as one of the early post-World War I conflicts, where armed struggle gave way to plebiscite diplomacy.